Hello and welcome to the Law Lounge. I'm your host, my name is Thomas, and I'm here to bestow upon you the knowing of great and wonderful things. It feels good to say that again. I apologise for the shake-up recently. I had no plan on doing Dungeons & Dragons content on this channel for quite some time, but being reintroduced to the game recently being played online these days was too much for me, and I've delved right back into it. This has not changed the love I have for the 40k lore, and as such, we continue today with my introduction to the Warhammer 40k universe through the lens of Astartes, that most spectacular of fan films. So far, we've watched the first 3 of 5 installments together and looked at many interesting things, mainly revolving around the technology and tactics used by the eponymous Astartes. Today, we continue our deep dive into these videos with episode 4. So let's watch. Monstrous. Absolutely awesome. The enemies that these Astartes face in this episode are unidentified Psykers we saw at the start of the last episode, sending their soldiers to slaughter. But what are Psykers, I hear you ask? In brief, a Psyker is an individual, whether human or alien, that has some degree of ability to influence the physical world with the power of their mind alone, by manipulating the ambient, universal power of the warp. Psychic powers, depending on the individual, range between basically being magic, telepathy, telempathy, mind and telekinesis, etc., all the way up to the ability to crush people's minds and bodies, open tears in the fabric of reality, and unleash torrents of psychic lightning to incinerate one's enemies. Side effects, such as physical and mental drain, exhaustion, unintentional self-immolation, and demonic possession, are possible. Orcs, while not presented in these videos, are a big exception to most rules when it comes to Psykers. Their whole species is profoundly, innately psychic in an extremely passive way. It's a kind of will to power effect, where the belief that something can happen allows it to. And it's cumulative. The more orcs there are together, the bigger the potential effect. For example, an orc shooter is usually a sloppily assembled thing that generally resembles a gun that in the hands of anyone but an orc would be useless. But because orcs have a culture of violence and observe things generally resembling a shooter shooting, their shooter shoots. And when that shooter shoots, it has a broadly similar effect to that of similar weapons because that's the effect that they've seen them have. So, shooters carried by orcs only shoot because shooters carried by orcs shoot. This is also a cumulative effect. The more orcs gather together, the greater the effect. Squads of orcs together can make bikes or trucks work that would never normally be able to propel themselves. Get a couple of thousand orcs together and they can make machines that can rival even the titans of the Eldar and the Imperium. If you think this ability is insane and would make orcs one of the most potentially dangerous forces in the galaxy, you'd be correct. The only thing that keeps orcs from conquering everything, everywhere, is their seemingly built-in need to fight and follow the strongest. When the leader of a warband, or warg, dies, it somewhat breaks the spell, breaks the unity of all their little bits of power. If there's no immediate enemy around them to focus, they'll fight each other, which has the fortunate side effect of winnowing them down over time and preventing them from becoming an unstoppable tsunami of green. So psychic abilities range wildly and can include seeing the future, scrying, shooting lightning, flight, or even, in the case of the human navigator class, open holes in the fabric of reality to allow transportation across the vastness of space through hell. The Psykers in this episode are very, very functional. They create telekinetic blasts to attack and restrain, and bubbles to protect themselves. They're not perfect, however, and their abilities, as seen, can be resisted by the Astartes, seemingly without lasting effect. But had there been another couple of these creatures, the fight might have gone very differently indeed. While Corrin and his squad aren't Psykers, part of an Astartes training is in resisting effects that might twist their minds. That, coupled with their staggering physical gifts and endless drilling in tactics, means they're able to overcome these enemies, which, it seems, were able to take over their ship with ease. Another species that are deeply psychic are the Eldar, or the Eldari, which are basically space elves that used to rule most of the galaxy. That is before their heightened senses led them to become addicted to excess of all kinds, creating cults of every pleasure and sensation imaginable at the height of their civilization. This inadvertently created an incredible powerful quasi-deity creature in the warp, consuming the majority of their empire and species. While some of the remainder of the Eldari remain extremely powerful Psykers, the most powerful really are borderline ridiculous. They have to use their abilities sparingly to avoid the notice of she who hungers. More on the Eldari and other species another time. Back to Astartes for a moment. Yes, there are Psyker Astartes, and yes, they're terrifying. Librarians, as Space Marine Psykers are known, are trained and screened out, as are all Astartes. They undergo the same physical and mental training and ordeals that would destroy lesser men. But those who are found to have psychic potential also have to undergo extensive training to learn to harness and guard against their own abilities. As a normal human, lost to the dark powers of the warp is a terrible thing, but an Astartes, with their demigod-like powers, possessed by a demon or similar, would be a catastrophe for everyone. A librarian, when trained, must eternally guard himself and his brother Astartes against the powers of the warp, remaining vigilant at all times for sign of corruption, not only in others, but in themselves. Librarians make up a different structure within a chapter to normal Astartes and can be assigned to squads or other organisations for missions or campaigns, or similar. So that's it for today. A different approach from my previous videos. Still lots of savage arse kickery mixed with moral ambiguity though. Next episode, more. If you have any questions, corrections or similar on anything covered in this video, please do let me know down below. Next up in 40k, episode 5. Please like, comment, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Don't forget to check out Bindwood Gaming on Etsy and my own page on Fiverr for all of your NPC, character and organisation creation needs. This, well, it's no longer a brand new channel, but it's a new channel and any support you can give would be hugely appreciated. You're all truly wonderful, all hail the Omnissiah and I'll see you all soon. This is Thomas of the Lore Lounge.